dancing on over there. It's freezing cold. Thanks. Love you too, babe.
I will end you.
I will end you.
Friends,
Ignore all this.
friends are important. Friends will help you make it through. Friends are important. Good morning, Brittany. Good morning.
Why are friends?
Shirley
Why is your
Sarabee.
song "Friends Are Important"?
I don't know. I started singing. Maybe my shirt does stink.
No, it didn't. Something did. I don't know. Maybe it was me.
Good morning. Check. Hello.
I don't know about water.
Hello.
I'll get
I'm
dehydrated.
trying to film a show here, you know.
I know.
Hello. Good morning. Okay, what does it mean when you send a request to be in the live video? Does that mean be on the show?
I know. What does that mean? We don't even know what that means.
I'm not sure.
In the when we push
So-
it, it doesn't do what we think it's gonna do, though.
I don't know what that means.
It's worth a Google.
This is true.
Lego Batman.
Good morning, Mama in the Wild. Hello.
Good morning. Okay. Good morgie.
Hello, good morning, welcome.
Check.
Oh, pre-show.
Why does that seem low? Check.
What's today?
Check. Check.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get this going. We've got a lot of stuff to do.
Alright.
Sister.
You ready?
I believe so.
Okay. Oh, I'm freezing. Huh? What do you say?
I don't know.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, Rochelle. Good morning, James. Just for James. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Chrissy, good morning. Hello. All right.
Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
Good morning. My name is Seth Studley. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. Welcome. Hello. Today's day 43 of AOM Q&A titled Parenting Differences and the Grass is Always Greener.
If you're new here, welcome. We have over 250 episodes covering all sorts of things related to relationships, and we make this show because we love you and we had a really terrible relationship one time.
And we want to talk about it.
And we want to talk about it.
That's right. And I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and we interview other professionals in the field, other people who have normal stories just like ours, just like yours, and we share the love to all grow together. And you're here because you want a better relationship, and that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So thank you for being here.
Yes, and as always, our show is brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage to get a free audiobook on us. We love audiobooks. We want you to have one, so please use that resource. And we always read a review of the day and answer your questions, so that's what we're doing. I love this review.
This review is the shortest one ever.
The best.
Sarged777. Great podcast. Been listening since the beginning and love the podcast.
The end. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that review.
Thanks.
It was 5 stars. I appreciate it.
Good morning, Lily.
And we're live on Facebook and Instagram. And someone just said that the Instagram glitches so bad. Does anyone else's Instagram glitch, or is it just the one person's, Mrs. Schmitz?
Maybe. Mr. Smiths, your Instagram is not the...
Is your internet not good?
Whatever, Brian.
No thanks.
Did you get that? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, number one question. I'll read it first. Hello, Seth and Melanie. First of all, I want to thank you for your great podcast, which has become a great forerunner for me. I hear your podcast when I go to university or work. Since you always encourage your listeners to ask their questions about marriage and relationship, I'll do that. I've been in a relationship for almost a year. It's the first one for him and for me. Oh, okay. We are both in our mid-late 20s. We met online on an online dating site over the distance. At the beginning of the relationship, I was very unsure if I really wanted to be with him because I had an idealized view of relationships, and I quickly realized he was not perfect. At some point, I got a certain security and felt more and more comfortable in the relationship, but then my partner started to doubt because he said I am not silly and funny enough. He said his insecurity and doubts were influenced by whether the grass was greener on the other side. His doubts became so great that it became very rejecting towards me, which hurt me very much. Although I'm sure I've given him a break in his relationship, so that he goes into himself and thinks about what he really wants or whether he still wants to be with me. He took advice during the break and was able to uncover his thoughts that the grass is greener. Meanwhile, he is sure with me and the relationship. But the break didn't do me any good. But also, the weeks before, I asked a lot of people for advice and hoped my friends could help me in one direction or the other. Instead, I became very insecure and was thrown on my head with things that I can't really deal with. My mentor said that she felt there was someone better for me. And if I'm honest, I don't understand that statement. And this statement since then has reminds me of being in my head and unsettles me. I chose the relationship because I saw what steps my boyfriend was taking, and he was trying so that I could trust him again. But this thought is still in me and accompanies me. I have a strange feeling that I don't know if I made the right decision. On one hand, I am angry with my mentor for this statement, and on the other hand, I don't know if she is right. The only thing I want is to enjoy my relationship and build a healthy relationship. I've really met a great man whom I don't really want to give up yet, and I'm afraid of missing something. I don't know exactly what my question is, but maybe you can help me anyway. I also have to say that my story was only told in a rough way. Greetings from Germany, and thanks for your great podcast. Thank you for the question. Yes.
This is a extremely great question. I have so many things I want to say about it. Sure is.
Thank you for listening from Germany. Yes, I'm glad that you're there.
Great.
I like Germany.
Great sentence.
Sorry.
Seth likes Germany.
Okay, anyway, go.
The thing that I thought is, I think so many things about it. Mm-hmm. One, this is your first relationship. That's complicated. Just that. That's a lot. Lots of things to think in there. This is your first relationship and you're in your mid to late 20s. My first relationship, I was 14. And so there's so much to say. I just got done listening to an interview with an author. His name is something Sass. He's like a senator. And he wrote a book called, The Vanishing Adult, or like The Vanishing American Adult or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's all about the way that a younger generation walks through things like social media, online dating, and how the influence of the internet age and socialization is changing the way we function in relationships and as adults and all these things. And so that was the first thing I thought of, was like, oh, this is like, how do you do adult things? Because we don't know how. And there's so many sentences in here where it's like, I quickly realized my boyfriend isn't perfect. Why did we think he was? Like, let's start there. Mm-hmm. Nobody's perfect.
Right, because sometimes through culture or whatever family of origin, we are acculturated to, hey, this, if I just do this, then I'll have the perfect boyfriend, girlfriend, we'll have the perfect kids, we'll have the perfect job or whatever. And we do want to control and hold things tight and tend to make things black and white, but the universe just isn't like that.
Yeah.
Right? And it only sets us up for disappointment and opposing thoughts. Well, I thought it would be this way, but it's not. Oh my goodness, what should I do? And sometimes we internalize that and go, what's wrong with me, or what's wrong with the other person? And then we kind of perpetuate being in not good relationships.
Yeah.
And not saying that this person is, but that what is it called? Cognitive dissonance between, this relationship should be XYZ. It's not. Okay, what's wrong? Then we're holding two opposing thoughts at the same time, and it's like two magnets repelling each other.
And I think that's a really important thing to talk about, the cognitive dissonance side of that, because when we have the expectation, so just bear with me, this is going to sound real weird for a moment.
Got it.
When we are only consuming things we want to consume, meaning I watch the shows that make me happy, I follow the Instagram accounts that make me feel good, I eat the food I like, I don't do anything hard ever, not once, ever, why would I? Right? And then we get into a relationship with another human and we go, in this quote, you're not silly enough. You're not funny enough for me. Why aren't you? That's what he was saying to her. Why aren't you like the Instagrams that I follow? How come you don't serve me all the time? Why don't you live how I think you should live? Right? That's not actual healthy relationships. That's weird expectations built from a pattern of constant consumption. Right? That we don't see that the world is a two-way. It's not even a two-way street. It's a billion-way street.
Right.
And we don't realize that that is shaping what we think relationships should be. Oh, you should be here to serve all of my needs. Be funny when I want you to be funny. Don't be sad when I want you to be funny. That's dumb. I'm going to change the channel. I'm going to switch accounts. I'm going to do whatever, right? You see what I'm saying? And so there's so much to think about just in that conversation alone, where it's like and it's a super challenging thing for, I think, younger generations to figure out, because it's like relationships aren't meant to serve you. They're not like Instagram and Facebook and whatever. I mean, those are two platforms that I know of. There's a bajillion, and I don't have any clue what the other ones are. But you see what I'm saying?
Sometimes you give, sometimes you take, and on Instagram or all the instant things that we have, it's just like, what do I want to see? What type of stuff do I want to see? What do I want to read? What do I want to watch?
Well, think about Fortnite. What do I want my character to look like?
Right?
I can't even play the game without a character. I want it to look a certain way. In Mario, you couldn't change his outfit unless you had a raccoon suit or a frog.
You had to earn that, right?
You had to earn the raccoon suit.
So yeah, in a world of everything highly tailored and curated, which is good, which is a cool thing. Relationships aren't supposed to be that way. You know, it's not like, oh, I can have Melanie do what I want, say what I want, look how I want, make what I want, whenever. That's just not a thing, right? And if I have that expectation, then it's going to drive you nuts, and then I will just be unhappy, right? So the whole idea of the grass is always greener. It's always greener if you're looking for it to be greener.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I was listening to a thing this morning. It's that idea that I've been saying forever. We always find what we're looking for.
Yeah.
You know, and what you focus on expands, and these ideas. You know, so if we're just like, okay, I'm going to focus on being. What are you smiling for?
You always find what you're looking for, unless you're me at a beach looking for treasure your entire life.
You just have to keep on looking. That's all.
I want to find treasure. Keep talking.
You want to find treasure?
I really do.
I know. I would love it if you did.
I would
It's
too.
so awesome. I remember your face when I surprised you with the engagement ring, and you were like,
I totally was
I don't
like
know.
a mixture of Seth found a ring on the beach. He found a ring on the beach. Oh, he's proposing.
Yeah, it was really.
It was
awesome,
really
and
funny.
it
But I do
made
want
me
to
happy.
continue to say though that this idea of like perpetually looking for how a relationship serves you. And I'm not exactly saying that the asker is saying this. I just want to talk about it in general. Is that is like a baby saying, I only like mushy peas or applesauce. Don't give me a carrot. And that's like doing that forever and ever and ever. And if you can't allow some carrots in your life, you'll never be able to eat solid food, and you'll be a baby forever. Like, and it's relationally, emotionally. We see this with our kids. Like, they only want certain things. They don't want to try new things. They want comfort, always. But when your standard of comfort is, you think, I need you to be exactly like I want you to be, or else, we can't date.
But, okay, so that doesn't mean that you can have preferences. That doesn't mean you can have standards and a code of conduct for which you choose to participate in a relationship with another person.
Absolutely.
Right? They can't, or you prefer that they not treat you this way, that they aren't whatever. And you can get very specific on those things. I did that before we dated. I was like, I think
Seth had a list.
6 things, and it wasn't just like,
Say
how's
what
it
they
going to
were.
serve me? It was
that you wanted me to, so he had a list for who he wanted to marry, meaning what that person was like. And it was their family eats meals together. That was one of them. The other one was that you wanted someone who was college educated.
Yes.
I can't remember what the other ones were, like a redhead, super hot.
No, that was just a...
Loves treasure in Indiana Jones.
I think... I think I have the list somewhere.
Yeah, I think you do.
But these ideas were indicative of other stuff, you know? And I was thinking about this a couple days ago. You know, like, I don't know if this is an urban legend or whatever, you know, but the singer Ozzy Osbourne, right? So he always made his tour manager have a bowl of green M&Ms, right?
Yeah.
Right in the green room in the back before the show.
Sure.
So if he knew that the green M&M bucket was there, like a new one every single night, then everything else would be taken care of. Because something is stupid and low priority as a full bucket of green M&Ms.
Yeah.
No, that's not the point. It's like, if
standard
that is there, then the writer is there,
Uh-huh.
the green room stuff, all the mics, the sound checks, all that stuff is taken care of, right?
Yeah.
So my list was basically like, okay, I think a certain way, I live a certain way, this is my conduct or whatever. I would prefer to be married, to be with someone who thinks in a similar way.
And holds similar values. I think you are actually talking about a value system as
It's
well.
a value system.
Like
it
you-
wasn't like, oh, you got to wear your hair like this,
No.
and you can only wear, I don't know.
Daisy Dukes. Because you are Southern.
I don't know why. Yeah, whatever.
Don't even just
I won't. But
stay
I'm like,
here.
why? That's silly.
But I think it's
Yeah.
important to say that he is talking about a value system. He wanted to have a shared value system. Someone who is college educated and wants to go to college on their own has a particular shared viewpoint
Right.
and value system in life. And so I think that's what I want to kind of like point this question toward is not, we need to look at these things as adults. We need to look at these things like, yeah, relationships are hard. It's complicated. And people don't do what you want them to do all the time. And that's actually part of being in a relationship with another human in general. It could be a coworker. It most certainly will be your child. Your children do not do what you want them to do all the time. And they're not carbon copies of you. Well, maybe they are, and that's why it's a problem.
Great.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I love this question. I think it's such an important thing to talk about and to really complexly think about. So thank you for sending that in.
Hey, TJ, what's up? Okay, next question.
The next question is actually a parenting question, but it relates so much to attachment as adults and all of these different things. So I'm excited about it.
All right, I'm going to read it fast. My husband and I parent differently. I was raised in a house on the go, family dinner, and most of our weekends were spent with family or at practice or a game. We spent a lot of time joking and only got spankings when we really step out of line. He was raised with family dinner at the table nightly to tough it up and got spanked for anything that was remotely out of line. Nothing is wrong with how we were raised, and for the most part, we have found our common ground except when it comes to kids not feeling well or having emotional days. He tends to brush off the complaining and tells me I'm raising babies. He is literally so mean when he is sick, and I take the kids and myself to my parents' house as often as I can. He is miserable to be around, and his mom allowed him to yell back at him and talk when he was sick with a really filthy mouth and
It
grouchy.
doesn't say filthy.
I don't know. I do not let my kids get away with that crap. Sorry you don't feel good, but you still have manners. If I rub their backs or cuddle them, mainly our 9-year-old son, I'm making them babies who can't toughen up. When I got sick as a kid, my mom would let us pick our food, movies, and would watch a movie with us if we asked. It wasn't about needing to be tough, but being a mama when we needed her. I don't think my husband ever wanted his mom around, so he doesn't understand that feeling, if I'm being honest. It's hard. I don't want my kids to be miserable monsters to their future spouses, and I'm sure my husband doesn't want them to be needy and so dependent on others to take care of them. He wants our kids to be independent and not needing anyone. Last night, this morning, I heard my 9-year-old sobbing in his room at 3 a.m. because his ears hurt so bad, but he didn't want to bother me. He sat in his room and cried. It woke me up and I was able to take care of him, but my heart broke. He didn't want to bother me. I'm his mom. He's 9. I don't want him ever to feel like I'm a bother, and I think sometimes the imbalance of raising a man and having a son is so hard. How do you raise men when you have a little boy? How do you raise men when you have a little girl? My heart is still sad for him finding him crying alone in pain. Yes.
It says, how do you raise women when you have a little girl? Not
sorry.
men.
Okay.
This is an amazing question. Thank you for letting me share it. This was in the women's group, actually.
Yeah, I
and
figured.
I asked to... Oh, you figured.
Well, because I didn't.
Oh,
see
because
it.
ladies talk about feelings. Oh, you're disgusting. Just kidding. But this was in the women's group, and I'm so thankful that you let me share it. So, but there's so many things to talk about in this because that pattern, like you're describing, your husband is really mean when he feels sick, and he says you're raising babies, right? All of those things are, for one, they are the family of origin now for your children.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, they are creating the attachment style that your children will have relationally growing up, right? So when your kids are older and have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and they're in a relationship, they're going to do those things, right? They're going to see that that's an okay thing to do. And they're not necessarily they're going to repeat them directly, but they're going to be more prone to be like, toughen up. What? You're sick? Oh, I never had that when I was sick. Oh, right? So they're crying now, wanting your affection and your love. But then when they're adults and they never actually got that affection and love, they're going to be like, what? You, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much to unpack in this because this is, and so I want to kind of transport everybody back in time to when they were 9 years old. And when their ears hurt, and when they were crying, what did they want from their parents, and why did they want it, and why is it important? So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about reparenting. What would it look like to give your child, what would it be like for your current adult self to know exactly what your 9-year-old self wanted, and then to give that to him? And it's kind of like, it's a really awesome practice. If you guys have heard me talk about it before, but it's like you kind of separate your adult self to your kid self, and your adult is talking to the kid, and the kid is talking back. And it's like a really, every time I've done it, like even personally, bawled my eyes out, and then with other clients too, bawled their eyes
so
out,
let's slow down right there and just talk about that a tiny bit more. So he's saying, imagine, let's all put ourselves back in time. Let's say we're 9, 10 years old, whatever, and we have fallen and hurt ourselves. We've scraped our knee. We have an ear infection. We have something where we feel really distressed and in pain, and we want someone to help us.
Right.
So then you can ask yourself, well, what really happened? Maybe dad was mean. Maybe mom was too busy with the other kids.
Right.
Whatever it is, then what would have actually made you feel better?
There's this like 3-thing saying that is really important in play therapy and with other therapies too. But it's I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you kind of thing. You know.
Okay.
So whenever we like scrape our knee or fall or am embarrassed or need help or don't know what to do, you want someone capable that you're attached to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this could be a teacher, an uncle, a mom,
A
or
neighbor,
dad, or whoever
yeah.
is like, I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Let me help.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's stay present for a moment in that space. You're injured, whatever it is. Put yourself in that space. You're a little kid. What are you wearing? Where are you at? I remember falling off my bike horrifically on the gravel when I was 10, and just like my knee was like open so terribly, and my neighbor was really nice, so I needed someone to see, right? Your knee is like exploded, it's disgusting and full of gravel now, right? And then she helped me, she carried me up, we had a bike, I had all these things. So what do you feel? Who is there? What are they saying to you? What do you need them to say? What would help you feel better? And it's probably not play any video game you want, right? It's not I'm going to make you a baby. No, it's I'm going to soothe the fact that you're in distress. You have an ear infection.
And acknowledge that you're hurting, right?
Yes, not brush it off.
Also, there's this other thing that's in the Upper Limit book that I'm reading now for the freaking 3rd time, is you are not a burden.
Yes.
Like, you hurting yourself, it does not stress me out right now.
Yes.
I am here to take care of you. You are not a burden on me. Let me help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not like, here's 1,000 gallons of ice cream, here's 5 movies, and
you'll
here's,
never have to have a job.
$100. You know, it's not that. It's like, your knee hurts.
Yeah.
I bet you that really hurts. Oh my goodness. Blah, blah, blah.
It's attunement. So, and the thing I think is so important about that is that those are the moments, and this is really important. I don't know, it's so important to understand this, that those are moments of stress and anxiety in a kid. When we're in pain, that is stress and anxiety, right? Pain causes us to be in a state of anxiousness and all these things. We have relationships that can soothe that anxiety. That's part of the function of a healthy relationship. Is I have you put me at ease in a way. I'm not saying that you have to, or that's the only way I can find ease, but that's part of an amazing relationship. We hug, I feel better. That's part of the chemicals that a relationship produces. Parental or relational, like married, right?
Right. So getting back to the parenting question, I would tell your husband.
I really wasn't done with what I was saying.
Oh, you weren't?
No. And so why I'm saying that is important is that establishing that those. So if your son is saying, "I have an ear infection, I'm crying, here I am," and you dismiss that, you say, "Don't be such a baby. Stop it. Knock it off.
Toughen up."
Right? You are, in a sense, training them to shut off the relational part of their brain. Because that's what we do when we are hurt. We reach out because that's how safety is built. That's how all those things are. We're wired that way. And when we push a kid away who is hurting, it causes their brain to go, well, that's not safe. Shut that part down. Which impacts all of their relationships moving forward.
Be independent. Take care of yourself. Don't be a bother.
And I will say, you've done that with our kids.
You have
too. You have, and I think
I've definitely done that with the kids
when they were littler.
Yeah, when they were littler, and because I was like so worried about doing the right thing, just like this husband is like, oh, don't baby them. don't do this. And if I could go back, I would say things are absolutely 100% okay. Like, Melanie is generally doing, I mean, some of your stuff with family and origin was goofy, like give them everything, blah, blah, blah. I was like, that's not helpful. But your inherent nurturing qualities as a mom, I should have just been like, all day long, you know, and not like, oh, toughen up, you know. It's like the freaking 5 years old,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, and I don't
or
think,
9 or whatever.
I don't think that people also realize when they have children that are like 4 and 5 how little they actually are.
Right.
You feel like they're old enough to wipe their own butt.
Right.
Like, no, they're like babies.
Oftentimes we, what's the word? I'll make up a word. We adultize kids, and we think that they can handle more than they should, that they can do more than they should, and that they should know better.
Yeah.
You know, but when they're 5 years old, they're just like, my world is just, they're egocentric is what it is, you know, and that's okay because you're a kid, right? And then you learn different developmental things, and that comes in time. Good morning, Adina.
Yeah.
And I would say to the husband, okay, so how about this, wife? Have a balanced view of stuff. Like if you are too giving and too like, okay, I don't want to, you know, like I'm putting padding all around my kid, then that's not good. The kid has to go through some hardship, you know, like a tree that's been in the wind all its life is going to be much stronger than a tree in a nursery. And the first wind that comes over, it's going to blow the tree down.
That's a great analogy.
Right? I have a lot of those. Anyway, and dad, lighten up. Maybe your dad was a hard A on you all the time. And lighten up, soften up, because you're going to distress your kid out that eventually, later on, they're going to be like, okay,
well,
not a cool space to be around.
Let me say something that I think is really, really important to think about. Perhaps this is the pattern in the family of origin that your husband grew up in, not because his dad was like, yeah, I'm going to be so tough, I'm going to make the kids so tough, but maybe because the dad didn't know how to sit with the emotions of the child.
Right.
And that's a very important thing to figure out, because I think that was what was happening with you, is that the kid was crying and you're like, this stresses me out. I'm just going to tell him to stop.
Right. And
that'll be easier, right?
Culturally, in the South, and just, I mean, the culture of masculinity in many cultures, and like, all over the world, literally. African cultures, European cultures, all over the place. It's you gotta be you know, this stoic person or whatever, and it's just not. It's just not.
It's stunted.
room.
It's like don't do that. I don't like that. And so because the father doesn't like it, or I mean, moms can be like this too, but if you're requiring your child to stunt themselves, and that's different than understanding and growing emotionally and relationally and like all of those things, but having never even let your child see if that branch could grow into something helpful is not great. You're saying, no, cut that one off.
Right.
Don't cry. You're a baby.
And it's fear-based too. It's like
Totally.
Our parents, our fear as parents really can hold back kids and put them on a different trajectory altogether. You know, what are we afraid of? You know, are they going to die? You know, if something happens, if they show emotion or whatever, no, we're going to learn. And like, you want to foster and like create that and cultivate that within kids, just like a marriage.
Yeah,
kid,
well, and it's another analogy that just came to mind is like the grace that we give a kid to do something physical, like learn how to ride a bike, right? You can't make it go faster or not. It's just they got to sit there and they got to walk slowly, then they pedal, then they fall, then they pedal, then they fall, then they, right? And you don't go ride your freaking bike, right? You don't ever do that with something that's physical, because you know it takes the coordination of all of these different moving parts, balance.
At least not in the beginning, right? But then like after, like I'm thinking of weightlifting, you know, then after you want to be like encouraged, like come on, you got it, you know, let's push, let's work hard.
I know, but I'm saying people don't do that with the emotional parts of relationships.
Yeah,
you don't let your kid cry because you don't like it. That's like saying, don't fall off your bike. You just got on it. Put the bike away. Right? You are never letting your child learn to ride the to figure out their own emotional anything. Relational, emotional, what they do when they're sick, what they do when they're sad. You're cutting it off. And you're saying, put the freaking bike away. You can fall over.
Right.
It's like that guy in the apartments. He just said I heard him say this to his kid. If you're not going to throw the ball right, don't throw it at all. And I was like, that's really nice. Right? So, I mean, he's not their father. He's not very nice either. But it's interesting to think of it that way.
Right.
That, like, we need to let our children test their emotional, relational skills, especially when they're under distress. I have an ear infection. What do I do? And if they do it wrong 15 times, that's called learning.
That's right.
That is called learning. That's riding a bike, all that stuff. So I'm so thankful that you let me ask that question.
Good job. We got to go. I got to go get the oil changed in the car.
Ooh, in Vandolph.
In the van. And
Tire pressure.
I like your van because you like the van.
I love my van.
I know you do.
You hate it, but I love it.
No, I don't. I said that. So, okay, here's the thing. Here's a caveat and thing. So, in a Facebook page, some dude was like, hey, what kind of van should we get? You know, blah, blah, blah. Somebody has a Chrysler. My wife wants a Town and Country, but I've only heard bad things about them, right? And I wrote something negative. I was like, Melanie loves a Town and Country. I hate it. American cars suck, is what I said, right? And I was thinking about that. I was like, that is not life-giving whatsoever.
No, it's not.
I take that statement back, and I should like the van because you like the van. And guess what? If we're talking about like positive energy and all this stuff, this is going to sound woo-woo, but I don't care. If the van thinks I don't like it, then I'm only going to look for fault in the van and say, see that, blah, 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 this and this. And I really think that matters.
It does.
I honestly do. Like, you know, you can speak to a plant, kind words and loving, and play classical music to a plant. And like, there's been a million research studies that have done this, right? And then you speak like negativity and speak death and play like harsh, actually rock music to a plant. It withers and it does not thrive and it dies. So I think that everything is like that. Everything is vibrating on a frequency. I'm not woo-woo, but I just...
You are, that's okay. But even
okay.
the fact, like, so I want to comment on that really quickly, because even the fact that you have historically said that Chryslers are terrible and that the van that I like the most is the dumbest one, like that has impacted me.
I know. Like
for years, because I'm like, I want an Astro van or I want a Chrysler Town and Country. Like those are the two vans I want. I don't want anything else. If you bought me a new Odyssey, I would say no thank you. I would prefer a 1994 Astro van, right, with a bench seat in the center. But you were really like negative about it, and
I know I was.
But and I think it's important because I think all of that stuff matters. Not that you have to agree with me on everything, but that the sort of like the energy. Again, I go back to Reiki healing. I'm interested in energy work, and the van needs to know you like it.
It's real. It's real. So okay, you know, it's like positive vibes only, or like good thoughts, kind of like good vibes only. It's like for real. So
it really is.
I texted you this thing today. I was like, we are only going to catch the kids doing something good today. Even if they're doing something bad, we're going to catch them doing something good, because what we look for, we will freaking absolutely find, and what we focus on grows. And that is one thing that has been the big deal with our kids lately. We have to correct them a lot and yell at them a lot and say, stop doing that, stop. We're, like, there's too many stops and there's too many no's in our family right now, right? So we're
not. Just kidding.
Okay. We're only going to catch them doing good, and don't write in and be like, well, you got to correct kids. Duh, of course we do, but we're going to try this out.
No one said they were going to write in and say that cynical king, Lord Cynical.
Lord Business.
Lord
okay,
business.
I gotta go.
I don't know. Yeah, you went off on a tangent.
I know, but it was important. So positive vibes only. We love you. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Give the tags. I gotta go.
Please leave us a rating and review on iTunes. It's super helpful for people to find the show, and we'll read your review on the show. We love it, and we love y'all. And have an amazing day. Seth is doing lots of crazy things. Have a good day. We love you. Bye. Weirdo. Total weirdo. I don't know how to do this.